Hi everybody, welcome to the video. My name's Josh, I'm a designer here at Sizzix, and today we're going to be talking about the exciting new Sizzix Multimedia Mat. So if you enjoy the video, make sure you give us a like and leave us a comment to let us know what you're going to do with your multimedia mat. So here is the multimedia mat in all its glory, well, in its packaging. I like to call it the media mat for short. I think that's a really nice punchy name. It is the multimedia mat because it's multiple forms of mixed media that you can create with this mat. So let's take it out of the box. Now, obviously, the first thing I can show you about it is that it's compact, it's portable, it's really durable. It comes in this kind of lovely little, I like to call it a bracelet, because I genuinely will put it on my wrist, and sometimes I'll add little blobs of glue maybe to apply to some of my die cut pieces with this, but that's just me. This is just to keep this nice and compact within its packaging. I'll put this to one side. We're going to talk over all of the fantastic things about it during this live, but I'm just going to jump straight into the make, and I'll talk about it during. So, what I mean by the fact that it's compact and it's portable is that wherever you put your media mat down, that then becomes your artistic work surface, and that's just something I absolutely love about this. Apart from, and that's additional to its lovely kind of sleek style. You might see here that we've got these wells. These wells are kind of integrated into the side there, so they're sloped, and that's really handy when you come to do things like mix watercolors, mix paint, because you've got that area to swipe your brush over when you're blending. Obviously, we've got this lovely channel here, so whatever you're using, whether it be a pen, a pencil, a paintbrush, you're going to be able to use that here. You can, put this in there. It's not going to roll away. And these also come in handy when you're not using them to put things like sequins and beads in, because they, obviously, as crafters, we know that glitter, sequins, beads, they can go everywhere and you lose them all. But that's not going to happen here. We've got this lovely kind of high friction surface here, so things aren't going to roll away. Today I'm going to be using this is the Botanic Scene die from our Chapter 1 range here, and then I'm also going to be using some of these lovely florals that come as part of the Sizzix Switch starter kit there. So you'll notice I've cut this die. This is that lovely mask die here, which is the Botanical Scene. And I've applied a tiny bit of spray adhesive to the back, repositionable spray adhesive I should say. I'm going to put it this way up. And then I'm just applying this to my lovely piece of crisp white cardstock here. Now, mixed media is all about making a mess for me. So, I mean, anybody who worked at Sizzix will tell you that I'm not a tidy maker. My area, it gets cleaned at the end of every day, but during, it's an absolute mess, but it's organised chaos. So, and that's where the mixed media aspect of this comes in. You can mess the mat up, but it's easily cleanable, it's wipeable, you can get it looking brand spanking new after you've used it. So, you'll notice that I've put some blobs of paint straight onto the media mat there. I'm using my texture tool here. I'm going to use the flat side to apply these over this stencil that I've created. So let's start with some of that agave creamy acrylic. A creamy acrylic is perfect to use with a stencil because it has body. And what that means is that it's going to stay dimensional to an extent after you've applied it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just applying this in here and I'm making sure that it goes within all these lines. I might just apply a little bit more so that I can get right in there, and I'm going to blend these paints as I go. So there we are, just picking that up with the texture tool. I'm trying to make sure not to go too much over the sides because I want to sort of contain this as much as possible. But again, it is mixed media, so any mistake is going to be a happy mistake that you can then, add as part of the make. So there we go. I'm not going to cover this whole thing because with this being acrylic paint, I have created one earlier so that we don't have to stand here and literally watch paint dry. So there we go. I'm just going to give my mat a wipe now. Now you can either use surface cleansing wipes. I like to use these just because they make it slightly easier, but just a dry paper towel can get this looking pretty clean. But I'm just going to give it a nice little wipe with that, and look at that. That's all come off there. That's ready to apply more paint to. But again, I don't want to focus on just keeping clean in it. I like to get it messy. So I'll just put this down here. Now, when I peel this away, and if I just take my tweezers, you'll notice that, as I mentioned before, it is dimensional now. So I used a particularly thick cardstock there. And what it's created is this lovely tactile surface. Now once this dries, it's going to be matte because this is matte creamy acrylic and it's got dimension, so I'll be able to feel this. You know, it really stands out from the cardstock. Now this for me is a perfect background for a scrapbooking layout, and I will show you the one that I've created earlier, or partially created I should say. And this was using this lovely area here because I know if I get any on the sides I'm going to be able to wipe it up. I've used this work surface here with those kind of integrated sloped sides there, so I could scrape it down with my texture tool and then it applies perfectly. But if I wanted to kind of mix the paint, if I wanted them to stay where they are, and I'm not doing any of that, I'm going to use one of these middle wells here, and we'll talk about the smaller ones in just a sec. So here is the one of these that I've created earlier. Now this to me is very nearly finished. All I would do is add some of these florals from this Sizzix switch starter kit here, but look at that, the way I've blended using the multimedia mat. I've managed to blend all of these. This is cherry blossom creamy acrylic with the agave creamy acrylic there, and again I can feel this, it's tactile, so if I just kind of move that around you should be able to see a little bit of that dimension. And all I've done is I've added some photographs. This is my lovely partner Susie, and this is our cat Milo, who wasn't very well recently, but now he's all better, thankfully. And it says collect beautiful moments. And if you look closely on here, you can see that I've done a little bit of paint splatter as well. Now the way I did this was again using the multimedia mat. I'll just leave this here whilst I carry on working because I'm going to show you how I did that. So I just applied some of my paint. This is to the middle well because I don't want this to be going all over the mat. And I'm going to spray this just with some water. And then I'm going to use my palette knife just to mix that round in the water, and I'm going to keep spraying it until it's a consistency that I'm happy with. This is another great thing about this mat. Now I'm going to take just a piece of scrap card here because this is just showing you that technique that I use to splatter the paint, and all we do, we take some of it on here. Now you can use the mat to make sure, you know, have a bit of a practice because we know we can wipe this back up afterwards, but once you've had a practice, just go ahead and splatter. Now you can mix the colours as you do it as well. So I might go ahead and add a bit of some of the gold acrylic there, just in that lovely channel next to it, that nice little well. Water that down again, mix it round. The lovely thing about these creamy acrylics is they're so kind of poppy, the colours, that even when watered down, they're not going to become dull. They're still going to be really vibrant and nice. And there we go. So that's one of my favorite mixed media techniques. That is the splattering using the palette knife. But then we're left with this mess here, so what am I going to do? I'm going to wipe it up. Now I'm not going to spend all the time just cleaning this now, although it is a very satisfying process. But what I've done so you don't have to watch this is I have brought with me another media mat ready to show you the next technique. Now, you may see these florals. These are the ones that I'm going to build up on here, but I just wanted to talk over how I did this. Now, all I've done here is I've mixed, and I've gone straight onto here with this. Straight onto my work area, a small blob of my gold, and a small amount of my silver as well on there. And I'm going to brayer these, because what I'll be doing is I'll be taking one of my sheets of scrap card here. I'm going to be taking a brayer. I'm going to come down here, start mixing these together slightly. Oh, that needs to be spinning more. There we go. And then we're going to go straight onto the card, and we're just going to create some nice marks. And I can now go right off the side here, because it's only going to go on the media mat, and I know that this is going to be nice and wipeable. So there we are. So we've got this lovely kind of gold and silver blend there. Now I would let this dry, and then from that I'm going to cut some of these. And if I just bring these a bit closer in, you'll see that there's some tactile texture on these, and that's the nature of the creamy acrylic. And when you can apply it like this with a brayer or with the texture tool, you know, you can do the same thing with the texture tool. We can then choose to apply this to the area that I've done on the media mat for a slightly different technique, an effect, or we can take it from here, which is what I've done. And then all we're going to do is I'm going to build these up over this make now. So I'll bring in all my parts. So here they all are. Now I can use some of my express glue, which I'm going to apply straight onto my mat. Try and get a thin bit there, because this is the way that I like to work. I like to put my glue onto a surface, and then I'll just apply some to the back of the element. So I'm going to go in with this nice little foliage element first, making sure not to get any on the nice clean part here. But as I build this up, you start to see a scene appear, that just with lovely embellishments on there, and it really finishes off that make. So on the opposite side, I'll stick some of these in. I'm going with, I mean, this is a mixed media make, but I am going with a slightly less is more approach, just because that is my preference. I really like a nice clean make. You know, with some really fantastic techniques, but I like it to be, I like that white space. And that I would leave it like this. Maybe I could add one more. No, I'm going to leave it. I think this, for me, is perfect. So I really love this as a make. Now I used the media mat to make sure I could apply this lovely thick coating of paint that was with the texture tool. I blended it as well on the media mat here, and I've also blended the gold and silver for the leaves. That splatter technique there, the media mat again came into its own, and it just allowed me to make a mess, and then I'm safe in the knowledge now that I can clean this up so easily. Just with either some wipes or just maybe some kitchen paper. There we go. So that's my make today, but just before we go, I want to show you how I've used the media mat in other makes. So there we go. I'm just going to clean this up, but we don't need this to be perfectly clean for this, but you can see how well it's just, all that's coming up. All I got to do is wipe that away, and it's pretty much back to new. It's really cleanable, and that's what I love about this. Now, as well as my make, you can see that these wells here, the smaller ones, these are actually designed to work perfectly with the Tim Holtz Distress Minis from Ranger. And now you can see this, because as I open that, there we go, I can apply that in there, and as you can see, it's the perfect size. I can then give this a spray, and that then becomes pretty much like watercolour. So if I was painting with my paintbrush here, which I could have had in the channel there, if I was painting here, or I would just apply that like this, Absolutely lovely technique. So again, I'm not making a mess at all. This is all contained in that area there. You know, I could blend this maybe with some, let's go purple, and let's go with a bit of this red here. So it's the same thing there. And I could just blend these together. So one runs into the other. And you know, we can create some really fantastic colour blends. I am a massive fan of watercolour. I do it in my spare time all the time. I really love it. So if I had something that I'd sketched out, this would be the way that I went about applying my watercolours. Even if I was using actual watercolours, I would put them on here first so I can blend them all, because we've got this lovely crisp white background here, so you can see the colours that you're using in their sort of truest form. And there are other things that we can do with it. So we can stamp on here, we can reverse stamps on here, but you know what? I think that's enough for this video here. There's going to be loads more content coming up about the multimedia mat. So what I thought I would mention is that we have currently on the website, I have a discount code. So my discount code is, if you've managed to get to the end of this video, you're very lucky. My discount code is Josh20. It's all one word. So when you go onto the Sizzix website, there will be lots of discounts available if you use that code. So I really hope that you have enjoyed the video. Again, you know, make sure you like the video, leave comments, because we love to read and respond to the comments. And if you are watching this on YouTube, maybe you could subscribe if you like what you've seen, so you can stay up to date with all of our latest content. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.